David Dobrik gifted me a Lamborghini Huracan.
That's amazing.
Just saying that out loud sounds bizarre.
Have you even driven a Lamborghini before?
No.
Wow.
Well, but like briefly, but not really.
Uh-huh.
This was like my first time actually being behind the wheel of one.
In this episode, we are talking with YouTube star Heath Hussar. Heath initially garnered online success with now defunct platform Vine. Transitioning Vine to YouTube, Heath joined former Vine creators known as the Vlog Squad. His amazing content strategy and ability to pivot his videos has helped him amass 2 million subscribers since the crossover.
This is Creative Disruption, the intersection where entertainment, data, and creativity meet. Here's your hosts, Ricky Ray Butler and Derral.
Welcome back to the Creative Disruption podcast, where we talk about everything that's disrupting the industry and talking to those creators that's creating that ripple effect. I'm joined here by my friend, Ricky Ray Butler. How you doing, Ricky?
I'm doing great.
Why do I always like to say Ricky Ray? Like I always like to say that.
You can call me Ricky Ray or Ricky Ray Butler or Ricky Ray.
I called you Ricky once, and you're like, "It's not my name."
Well, no, I can go by Ricky. That is a lie. Just don't.
It's always been Ricky Ray.
Yeah. Well, that's what my mom called me. I used to be ashamed of it. I've embraced it being in entertainment.
But isn't it Richard though?
It's like Richard Raymond Butler. It's much longer. But I've never been called Richard my entire life. It's always been Ricky Ray.
But what's on your driver's license?
I don't know. Actually, I don't want to reveal that publicly.
It's like
Wait a second. I think we got to cut this part out.
Oh yeah, we don't need to cut it out. Come on now. Now,
some hackers.
Now let's talk about trends that happen online, and you know, being in the industry for quite some time and seeing all the different things that goes on, you have the shock factor. Like the shock factor, number one, has always been there. For YouTube, for videos, for anything. It's like, how can we shock the audience? And I've noticed a trend, as of late that, the shock factor is getting a little bit more extreme. You're giving away $10,000 and then you're giving away $100,000 and then giving away a Lamborghini or whatever it may be. Like you've seen this before. Yeah. What's your thoughts on this?
I think it's great as long as they follow through. If it's just clickbait, and they basically lie with a title or with the thumbnail, and then they don't really have anything about that content, or they're not really doing it, or they're being somewhat sketchy on
exactly
that's where I have an issue. But like, I hope people just keep building
going up there
shock factors up for sure. I watch them. Absolutely. It does it for me.
And I think the one that's really setting some trends is Jimmy. I mean, with Mr. Beast, and we'll have him on the podcast here soon. But he's definitely pushing the envelope. But are there other creators doing some other creative things that you've seen in the industry?
Well, I think so. We need to give a shout out to that's not doing as much content today, and is Stuart Edge.
Oh yeah,
he was one of the first people I think that was really pushing the shock factor, but with positive content.
Yeah, no, right. Definitely with a shock factor. Yeah.
Yeah, and today I don't think he's as active on YouTube or.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen any of his stuff in a long time.
But this is something that we've talked about this before. This is something that was a really big trend, I think, like 3 years ago, and now it's like resurfacing, but it's like much bigger today, and people are really getting the resources to spend money to invest in their content.
It is. It's just like, okay, what's our production budget? Well, it includes a Lamborghini, or it includes, $100,000. And I know a lot of brands now are getting super excited. Like Honey is super excited to work with content creators like Mr. Beast, because it's like, hey, this is great visibility. And we know that the money that is being spent, and they'll put more money into it just because it's being spent to give away as well.
What are your thoughts on it? Do you feel like it's cheap?
No, I don't think it's cheap. It's entertainment, right? I truly do believe they have to follow through with it. There are content creators that we're doing this, $10,000 challenge, but the $10,000 never goes into other people's hands. It's like blatantly dishonest. I don't like stuff like that. Well, but the ones that do, and they're actually fulfilling with their promise, 100%, I think it's entertaining.
There's been a very negative world when it comes to the shock factor, and that's been the pranking world.
Well, 100%.
And do you feel like there's ever going to be a resurgence of prank videos?
I hope not. Unless prank's done in a different way. I think, pranks is great, but it crosses a line way too far.
What line do you think it crosses? Like they're bullying, or they're
100,
faking it?
Like 100%. When you're pranking a homeless person
Oh, for sure.
Like, seriously, come on, guys. Like, pull your heads out and see what's actually happening. I'm 100% against it. Now, pranking your friends, where it's expected. Like, we prank each other all the times. We like to tell jokes and do stuff like that. Yeah. But when it's to some random person that doesn't deserve that, 100% that should not even be surfaced.
Well, so on YouTube, there's a lot of, like shock factor type content. What other platforms do you think are also seeing this? Like, do you think this is happening with SVOD platforms?
100%. Like, I look at every platform. There's the extreme factor. There's always something bigger and better. But there's content creators that are getting these deals with, like, Discovery and all this other stuff because their content's so good and it has that shock factor that they're looking for, and they're hoping to get those eyeballs to go to that platform.
Yeah, that trend seems to just keep happening. Like, you have like Rooster Teeth.
Yep.
Like, whenever I'm like in a hotel somewhere, like, and I'm trying to watch television, which I don't really do, I always see like some random people from YouTube. I'm like, well, wait, like, they have a TV show.
Yeah.
And they don't really promote it. Like, they're still doing their own content. Like, I saw one with like Bernie and like the slow-mo guys, and they were like doing some science project trying to figure out how sharks move or something. And it was on Discovery.
Yeah, and they're getting paid a bajillion dollars. And bajillion is a word. We're going to verify that.
Wait, you can't do the same joke.
I always do the same joke. It's one of those standing things that always happen. Come on now.
Well, with your content, which, I mean, as we've discussed before, you don't like to reveal the 15 million subscribers that you have and what channels they're on. And I think you're just afraid that I'm going to be trolling you in the comments.
There are people that know this.
Yes, I know. It's the editor over here. But
there's other people too.
Okay, so I mean, in what ways do you use like shocking content or shocking titles? Is that something that works with the content?
No, not like
yours is more
like
the
family kids space stuff.
Right?
It's just easily to produce type stuff. So not necessarily that way.
Well, you could say like 100 gallons of slime rolling in it.
Yeah, no, but most of the people that we target couldn't read, so it doesn't.
It
doesn't really matter. So it's like it's more like toddlers, But it's like that's not necessarily the case. I think you do have to have a clickable, and I won't say clickbait because I think clickbait has always been termed bad, but it's like you got to have a clickable title. You have to have something that is a clickable thumbnail that gets people so invested that they want to click in it. And it's so important for that click. And then once it's there, you have to deliver on that promise. And that's why I think where you've seen a huge, massive growth with Mr. Beast over the last 18 months is because he's delivering on his promise, and it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And so I think shock content's going to always be around. I think that the more real and raw it is, it's like when you surprise and delight someone of random. It started with Twitch streamers before, but then it's like, a waitress or whatever. That's when it gets real for people. And I don't think that will ever go away because it's like a true surprise instead of, oh, that punk got another thing or this or that. I don't see.
Well, I think it's getting really saturated. It's going to be interesting to see where the innovation comes.
Yeah.
And where the community evolves and creating, more, shocking content.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's like shocking would be one thing. I think it's more surprise and delight. I think I'd like to call it that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more surprise and delight. And yeah, there might be a shock factor in there. There might be some moment.
Well, I appreciate this discussion because I expect us to start fighting eventually, and we didn't.
We didn't.
So that's good.
Like you said, you could bring your MMA skills out. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, you better be careful. But you were like an all-state wrestler, though,
yeah,
right?
but it's all right.
But that's outdated
that's
fighting.
a few pounds ago.
I have like new style fighting, so I don't think you have a chance.
Okay.
But anyways, we can agree to disagree. But today I'm really excited about, our guest, and we're talking about shock factor content or like surprise and delight content.
Yep.
I think he's an awesome expert when it comes to this. And who we have today is Heath.
What's going on, guys?
And Heath has an awesome YouTube channel. He's a part of the Vlog Squad, over 2 million subscribers, but is also a pioneer on Vine where he had like around 4 million, 3.5
Yeah, like
million.
3.7, somewhere around there.
That's awesome. So I remember seeing Heath, in his early days, and he and Zane would do a lot of fun content.
Yeah.
And you guys are still doing the fun content today.
Yeah, we grew up together. We went to high school.
I always thought you were brothers. I'll be honest with you.
Honestly, so many people do, so don't worry about it.
It's like we are brothers. It's
yeah.
like, I thought that you
No,
were.
we get it every single day. We do look pretty similar.
And when it comes to like shock factor content, which we were talking about earlier,
Right.
just recently, there was a really fun video that David Dobrik did.
Really fun.
Giving him a Lamborghini.
When you say it's fun, you're still smiling here.
Dude, it still blows my mind. It's still insane to me.
My team was involved in the project, but I've never heard your perspective.
Yeah. Oh my
So
God. I love talking about it because it's still so fresh to me. So as I'm sure a lot of people listening know, David Dobrik gifted me a Lamborghini Huracan. Like,
That's amazing.
Just saying that out loud sounds bizarre.
Have you even driven a Lamborghini before?
No. Well,
Wow.
but like briefly, but not really.
Uh-huh.
This was like my first time actually being behind the wheel of one. And it's incredible. Like it is the most insane thing I've ever driven in my life. It's amazing. But yeah, he gifted me a Lamborghini, and obviously we're talking about shock factor, and I was shocked.
And it was, it was all genuine, right?
Yeah.
But you're still shocked right now.
Yeah. I mean, like I don't know if it's ever going to be like, ever since that happened, my life hasn't felt real. I feel like I'm living in a dream, and it's so like, it sounds crazy that like, oh, okay, you got a Lamborghini and now your life's fake. No, but like, it just, I don't know. It's something that you see growing up. You're like, wow, a Lamborghini. And I've always looked at it as, wow, I wonder what people who have one of those do. Like what those people got to be living life. And it's something that I accepted growing up as something that would never happen. And that is just so unreachable that it wasn't even a reality. And being given one broke everything in my mind that I had thought my entire life. So it was really crazy to look at it like that. But also the fact that like David just gave me $250,000.
Yeah.
Like it's not
Sure.
like, okay, yeah, he gave you a car, but no, he gifted me $250,000.
That's
and that
amazing.
like that is something that like hits you and that you can't really comprehend in the moment. You're just like in utter disbelief.
So I got to ask the question, have you taken it out and have you...
Oh yeah.
Okay. No, let's talk about that.
Woo!
Did you have to
Okay.
learn how to drive it first?
Oh, so what's
Whenever I get
crazy?
a new like fast car, like I always realize that I'm very limited as a driver, and I have to
Definitely
test things out.
It's so responsive and feels so just natural. The only way I can describe it is like you're wearing a car.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Like my truck, I get in and I'm like, doo-doo-doo, like I'm driving a big truck. Okay. But like this, you feel like you're Iron Man inside of this crazy
Good,
machine.
Jarvis, okay.
It's very
Yeah.
responsive. I mean,
Dude, the steering,
quick.
the handling, acceleration.
Okay, so let's talk about the acceleration
unreal.
here.
Okay.
So, okay.
So I think it does 0 to 60 in something like 3.4. But if you use launch control, it'll get you there in 2.7, I believe,
Right.
which I haven't done
amazing.
yet. I'm waiting because I want to film my reaction. I'm getting used to like the car. I don't want to like fucking do everything right off the bat,
be
right?
careful filming your
Exactly. Hey guys, so I'm gonna do 0 to 60.
2.7 seconds.
It's nuts. Fastest thing I've ever driven.
No, so
And-
this was something where like David collaborated with Need for Speed by Electronic
Is that what it was?
Arts. Yeah.
Mhm.
That is unbelievable. That is so awesome. And
Like,
then
it was trending for how long, that video?
A long
I
time.
mean, I've seen it on the homepage so many times. It's
So
crazy.
I was at
Like
the
you and David and like the blue Lamborghini. in the back.
yeah, I was at the store the other day and this girl's looking at me and usually I get like, oh my God, you're Heath from the vlogs, blah, blah, blah. She's looking at me. She's like, were you the guy on Twitter freaking out over a Lamborghini? And I was like, that's the first time I've ever gotten that. Yeah, I am. She's like, oh my God, I saw that. That's so cool. I was like, tell me about it. I know. She's like, yeah, I just wanted to say hi. I was like, all right.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So you got to do launch mode. I mean, how far have you driven? Have you gone up to like Santa Barbara?
I've
from
done
LA?
I've done Malibu a couple times, a couple little beach runs through Topanga. Those canyon rides are
Oh, yeah.
incredible. I've gone down to OC. I've put
Okay,
Since
how
I
many
got
miles
it-
now?
I've put
You
I
devalued.
put 1,000 miles on it already.
Oh,
Wow.
So I'm
That's
driving
amazing.
it. Well, I feel bad because I haven't driven
Well, do
anything
it.
else.
Live it up.
Like it's so new and fresh that I can't stop driving it,
Mhm.
and it's great.
Like, do you take it to the convenience store?
I go to the gym every day with it.
You're like,
I'm that asshole.
I love it. You come back sweating from the gym and right into a $200,000 car.
Well, how hard is it to like park?
Okay, so that's the thing.
When I had a Corvette, like that was the biggest issue with parking.
Awful. I just park way out, and I'm still getting used to the dimensions, like backing up. You know, I got a foot and a half that I could still keep pulling in, and same with the front. But yeah, it's pretty tricky, especially in LA. Everything is so hilly, and you got pulling into a parking structure. You got this crazy ramp up, so you got to hit it at angles, so you're not, scraping it. And it's just getting used to it. Like my truck is obnoxious and huge, and almost impossible to get around. And now I have the complete opposite, like daily driver that is hard to get around as well. So it's kind of like.
Well, you just told us a story before we started about you actually got your truck back.
So now I got
what's this with cars in you here? What's going on?
I've had a really lucky year, I guess. So my truck, also known as Big Red, it was my Ford Lightning. It was the first car I've ever bought by myself, and I bought it in Florida, and I moved out to LA in it. And that was my baby. Big part of my content, my friends' content. We would film in it every single day. And the fans just grew to love it. And it got stolen out of my apartment complex one day.
By a fan?
I don't know. I wish I knew. They just really they really like the truck. But yeah, it got stolen from my parking garage, and it was gone. And
crazy.
Didn't hear anything from the cops for a long time. My insurance wrote me a check. Long story short, they found my truck, but it was too late, and I couldn't get my truck back because I had signed the title over. And they were like, if you want it, you got to find it at the auction that it goes to.
Oh, wow.
And
did they tell you what auction it was going to? Or
They kind of did, but they wrote me a check for it that was awful. And then they put it in the auction starting bid way more than they had given me. Wow. So it was like, at the time, I didn't have, the money to go now pay, $5,000 more than what I had gotten for it. So it was a shitty situation that I couldn't avoid. And that was the last I heard. And then 2.5, 3 years later, I get an email a couple days ago. Somebody's like, hey, I think this is your truck. And I was like, oh my God, that does look like my truck. I got to go see it. So I pull up, and the guy opens his garage. He had it for sale. And I was like, holy shit, this is my truck. I looked at the guy, I was like, you're not going to believe this, but this was my truck that was stolen from me. He's like, no way. I was like, you bought it from an auction, right? He's like, yeah. And I ended up buying my truck back a couple days ago.
That is so crazy.
And that's amazing.
My fans went crazy because they know how much that truck meant to me. So for them to see me get it back is, just as exciting for them as it is me.
What's that long lost character in their sitcom that actually comes back?
It feels like it's kind of fucked up to say this, but it feels like a child was stolen from me. And now, the baby comes back a couple years later, and you're like,
how many more miles is on it?
It's unbelievable. I think it was like maybe 10,000 more.
Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad for a couple years.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Crazy. So, okay. So we gotta switch gears here. So like, you definitely do Vine, and you did it till it died, basically.
Yeah.
Moved over, started doing YouTube vlogs.
Mm-hmm.
Like content and content creation, like people coming into the space right now, what do you think about when you're creating content? Like how are you thinking of your audience and how you want to engage with them?
Luckily I'm in this place where the content that I make is for people who like to just see me and my friend group. So it doesn't really matter what I'm doing. They just like to see me and my friends interact for whatever it is.
Right.
So whether we pick a fun DIY challenge or some sort of game or, any sort of just
dancing in spandex.
Exactly. So you get it.
Have you seen those?
Yeah, I've seen those.
It sounds so silly, but like our friend group is so funny, and we just make things, I guess, entertaining and, worth people's time.
Do you feel like the viewers just there and they're a part of your friend group? I mean, they just feel like
so a lot of people that watch, they're like, it just feels like we're there with you guys.
Right.
And that's what's great. We do a lot of conversational pieces throughout the vlogs where people feel like they're there and they're listening, and they want to chime in because it's so like real. which is something that I'm so thankful for.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like a question I have is about technology and where technology is going. Do you think there's going to be a day where you're creating these videos and it's a VR experience?
Oh,
People
yeah.
are literally there with you dancing.
100%. 100%. We've seen stuff that, the advances in VR that have come out already. And then with Fortnite putting in what was Marshmallow into the game, and people are
100%.
there playing the game with their friends, looking at their friends.
Yep.
It's 100% going to that. And I think it's crazy. Like, I almost don't want to accept it. I feel like my parents were there like, you don't need that.
You don't need none of that stuff. But like that whole Marshmallow event, that was an epic moment. Like that was an epic
crazy
game moment, but it was an epic moment for sure. And people where were you when that happened? I'm here with my friends doing this. I was there with my boys playing. They always tried to kill me. Luckily, they took that mode off so I couldn't be killed during that time. But no, it was just one of those beautiful moments. And I think that's where it is. It's like technology is connecting us on a deeper level. And it is that fan creator, connection. And I think that's the next iteration of where things are going to go.
And just the way fans interact when they see us. It's like they're seeing a friend. They're not like seeing Brad Pitt, they would just be completely shocked. But when they see us, they come running up and they're like giving hugs. They're like, hi, oh my God, how are you? Like it's a friend we haven't seen in a long time. And that's so crazy because
it's weird though, because think about it. Like they know every aspect of your life and you're like, who is this person?
Yeah. And it's not like an actor who does a movie for, a couple months, gets put out. That's their only thing for the year. It's like they see, like you said, so much of our lives and they're so in tune with everything about us. And it just makes us so much more accessible and I guess real.
Yeah.
Do you feel that today it's easier to connect with your audience than it was like when you're just doing Vine?
Definitely. And especially just being on the YouTube platform. With Vine, Zane and I, people would recognize us, be like, oh my God, you guys are the Viners. But it didn't translate to a dedicated audience. They weren't in love with who we are. They were more like, oh, these guys post funny videos. I'll check them out when they post a video. But it didn't translate into Instagram. It didn't carry over to Twitter. They weren't all encompassed into what we were doing.
Sure.
When we started YouTubing, they became, oh my God, this guy's great. This person's so cool. I want to see what they post on Instagram, see what they have to say on Twitter. And it just became a more unison.
Is that, do you think? You think it's just because
just how much they're seeing
content and like they build a higher level of loyalty?
Yeah. It's totally being able to see who we are captured in a video.
What platforms out there do you think are going to actually compete with YouTube in this way? Right now, is there just nothing?
There's nothing, like I'll say, like there's nothing out there right now that I'd rather be doing than posting YouTube videos. There's not another app. I know there's Instagram TV and stuff, which is cool. And it's just, it doesn't have the same feel as like going on to YouTube. It's just become such a experience. Like you're going onto YouTube to see your favorite YouTubers. Yeah. And it's, I don't know. It's just, there's something about it. And I haven't gotten that anywhere else.
Yeah.
Now, if Vine didn't die though, I mean, like, let's look at it. Did you cross over before Vine died or where were you at?
No. Vine
died. I hear about the migration. I was actually going to ask the same thing.
Yeah, because that's where I'm interested. Because it's like, is YouTube? I'm not saying it's going to die, but is it going to be, canceled?
I don't know. That's another thing. So I didn't transfer over until Vine completely died. David Dobrik, who was in our friend group, started filming us and was like, I'm going to do YouTube videos. We're like, oh, that's fun. That's new. So we just started helping him do that while we're Vining, and he started building a following on YouTube, and we're like, oh, this is kind of fun. And Vine just kind of disappeared, and he was the only one that had a YouTube channel that we were like helping, build. And we're like, oh shit. Well, now what are we all do? I guess we should make a YouTube channel too. This is, something we've been doing. It's fun. And it's a way for all of us to express ourselves through, video content. And that's when we all just decided to make our own channels. And I think I might have been the last one to do it.
they drug your feet.
Yeah.
Going into it.
Because I've always been pretty private with my life. I don't really like putting too much out there. But obviously it's my job and it's what I do for a living, so I have to. But that's why I was kind of hesitant on doing it.
Yeah.
Really committing to be like, okay, I'm going to open up my world completely and post long form content. I'm happy I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So where do you see the future going? Like for the next 5 years, like where do you feel like you're going as a creator? Where's technology going?
That's a good question. I feel like everything has been happening so fast with technology that it's kind of like unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
Like to me in my brain, I don't know what else can come. Like what the next step is, because it doesn't seem like there is anything. I feel like we're there, but obviously we're not. So I don't know where it's going to go. My next step right now, I just started a podcast as well with
Cool.
my buddy Zane, and we posted 2 episodes so far. which
Awesome.
I am stoked about. I love it more than I ever thought I would. We hit #1 on comedy on the charts.
That's a big deal.
That is
wow.
a massive deal.
The first episode we
Because
put
like,
out.
all the big podcasters are comedians.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And seeing us next to Joe Rogan, I think we're #3 still.
That's really cool.
And then we hit #3 on overall charts. And we were like, holy shit, this is exciting. But we absolutely love it. And it's just another way to express ourselves in a more unrestricted way. Because I feel like with a lot of our friend group, besides David, he doesn't give a fuck. But Zane and I, we limit ourselves to what we put on YouTube because there's just so many restrictions. And if you're cussing, you're demonetized. If you're singing, you're doing anything outside of their guidelines, you're demonetized. And we wanted a platform where we could just be ourselves and post stuff like we used to when we first started out on YouTube.
So that what I'm gonna say is I think that's where the future is. It's like, hey, do you know what? Like, there's all these regulations, there's all these issues. What you want is control.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where YouTube's appealing and Vine was appealing, is you had that control. It's like YouTube was broadcast yourself, do whatever you want. But now there's every little thing coming at you as a content creator, but the things that you can't do or can't say or it breaks terms of service.
There's still a central group that
because there's
monitors everything.
Exactly. But now it's more about, hey, what can I do? And that's the outlet right now is podcast. And I think that's where the future is going to be, is giving, people that want certain type of content more control of what they want instead of having, someone telling them, oh no, you can't have that.
Yeah. And I mean, if you like, there's a couple YouTubers I used to watch that did like gun reviews and stuff.
Yeah.
And their whole channel is
They're gone.
Yeah.
done. And I get they don't want to have gun content on the internet, like, but there's a market for it. People do want to see that stuff, and I feel like you can't really limit that and put a ban all across just because.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
it's a really tough fine line I feel like we're walking on, especially right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And and I've talked about this a lot. And like one area that I love, I have a couple of passions in life, of course, entertainment, content.
Of course, your
AI,
family first. Come on.
I mean,
come on.
Outside of family, entertainment, content, then AI, and then blockchain. I really think blockchain is what's going to make it so artists are truly empowered and decentralized and can do what they need to do.
Sorry, could you fill me in?
So like blockchain, like basically the technology that powers like Bitcoin.
Okay.
So it basically makes it so you can get your tribe or your audience to help fund your future content.
Gotcha.
And so
through consumption is what it is.
So kind of like how Patreon.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like Patreon
is very helpful in helping people get supported. Patreon is still a central group, and they still have their own policies, and they can still take people off their platform if they choose to. When blockchain starts developing to support entertainment executives or content creators.
Yeah.
It's going to make it so content is truly decentralized, but also so content creators control the power and control
Gotcha.
what they're able to do and what they're able to accomplish.
Yeah.
Now, there's going to be some negative effects because there's
Definitely.
toxic people out
Yeah.
there. There's going to be toxic content, but it's going to make it so someone like yourself, can create your own
Yeah.
type of model in building your business.
Definitely.
And making it so you're not disturbed. And you can do it the way you want to be, and you can be as authentic as possible.
Yeah. And that's a good point, because obviously there is stuff out there on the internet that should not be on YouTube, and that
Right.
is
Sure.
so wrong. And I totally agree with not having that, on the platform.
But it's a fine line, though.
Exactly.
Like it could be wrong for you, but for someone
Exactly.
else, it's
What's
not.
your
That's
truth? What's your belief?
Exactly. And I think the future is, how do we open it up even further? And,
Yeah.
and people, when they want to gravitate to specific content, how can they support
Yeah.
that said creator or that said producer? And I think that's where the future is definitely going. There's going to be a lot of hurdles to get to that point. I mean,
Sure.
look how long it's taken brands to even realize, oh, let's move our money from traditional into
Yeah.
digital. How long did it take them to really do that? And that's where it's going to be. It's like wherever the money goes, that's where it's going to be. And it's also about freedom too. It's like wherever the content creator goes and the views go, that's where the money goes. And so I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see.
I know.
And I'd say it's taken brands like 20 years.
Yeah, if that.
I mean, a little less, but I think it's just going to keep improving and progressing faster and faster. I think as humans and as consumers, we want what we want, and we want to get it as quickly as possible and find ways of doing that.
Yeah.
I agree.
One interesting question I have for you is, let's say if you were given $1 million to
He was already given $250,000. Come on,
I'm almost there.
let's say every week to create a new video. What
Okay.
type of video content would you create with that?
And that's a good point with talking about like Mr. Beast, where he's like, doing such extreme things and giving away so much. Obviously, watching reactions is so entertaining. Watching somebody being given something, just to see joy and shock and awe, basically,
Yeah.
which I think he's done so well, and basically formulated his channel off of that. So I think that route by giving is a great way to
Probably
do
go in
it.
that direction.
Obviously, hyping up production quality is something I wish I could do. I wish I had, better gear. I wish I had a full team that I could staff and, help with content ideas and bringing stuff to life and setting stuff up. I utilize that. I think just one, it's great to give, and nothing feels better than giving. And if you can help, it's
Yeah.
an
That's
amazing thing.
Yeah, that is a beautiful thing. I really believe.
But there's another fine line with that too. Like you can't
It can't be fake. Yeah.
Well, that's another. I hate with a passion fake shit,
yeah.
fake pranks. I hate that stuff.
Yep.
But also you can't go give a homeless guy $10,000.
Right.
That sounds amazing. Oh my God, you gave a homeless dude $10,000. You can't do that though. You can't
But
give.
you could buy every item in the supermarket and then give it to a homeless
exactly.
shelter.
It's about how you do it.
Yeah, well, then this what's interesting is when it comes to like TV series, there are TV series or episodes where they invest like $1 to $2 million, and I actually wonder if YouTube or YouTube content or social video content is ever going to get to a point where people are making enough money where they're able to like invest that much into content. That'll be an interesting day when you have so many
I
content
think we're
creators.
just at the beginning of it.
Yeah.
It's just like it all comes back down to the creator of really realizing, oh, this is my production budget, instead of, oh, here's how much money I'm making.
Yeah.
That's the difference. And I think these creators are coming in like Jimmy. It's like, no, this is cost of doing business, and we want to just kind of level it up. And once that shifts, like you're going to see it sweep all over a lot of content creators, and you're going to have the quality of content come up. I know there's a lot of YouTubers out there that have massive staff, and YouTube specifically doesn't know the size of their operation. They're like, oh, it's just 2 people, putting this out, and yet they go and it's like 62 people, behind these media empires basically that are forming. And I think that's where it's at. It's just like once they're able to see it, once they're able to do it, and once you're able to get more professional people in, film and television saying, look, this is where the future is, they have the education and the experience to really level up a lot of the production value. And I've seen that with content creators across the board. It's like they just had that shift. It's like they bring the right people in, making the right decisions, and they're investing more into their content. So
that's awesome.
Well, cool. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Like, for people to follow you and find you, how do they find you online?
Just my full name, Heath Hussar, on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Podcast is Zane and Heath Unfiltered.
And if they go on way back, they can go to Vine /
You can find Vine comps, Zane and Heath.
And being that we're a show that mainly brands and decision makers listen to and follow. What are 2 brands that you'd like to work with?
Oof, good one. I've always wanted to work with a Bass Pro or Cabela's.
That'd be cool.
Just because that's my favorite stores to go into.
Do you like the wilderness adventure?
Yeah. Just do some fun outdoor camping stuff. I go fishing a lot, so maybe get a new boat or something. That'd be great.
Do you go bait fishing or do you fly fishing?
I do fly fishing,
cool.
bass fishing.
That's fun.
Done deep sea a few times out here since I moved here. Honestly, anything. So I'd say one of those 2, and then maybe Ford.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. You're
Big Red beats Big Brother. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, I got the Raptor. I got the Raptor and the Lightning. But just car stuff in general is always fun.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And thank all of you coming on, and make sure you hit subscribe, follow. You know what to do, and we'll see you on the next video.